about this piece, you'll note that this is a transcription of a 1958 recording that was made in Brussels, Belgium. Guido Hazen was a priest in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but of course at that time it wasn't the DRC, it was the Belgian Congo. It was a colony of Belgium, and he was a priest serving in a village called Kamina. This was 1958, and so for those of you who know anything about Catholic history, you'll know that in 1958, throughout the world, the Catholic Mass was always done in Latin. And in the late 1950s, early 1960s is where all that kind of met a point of crisis. And they had a meeting, the Catholic Church called Vatican II, and they had a lot of decisions that came out of Vatican II, but one for us musicians that was very meaningful was that the Catholic Mass, the Kyrie, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus, and Agnus Dei, could now be done in the vernacular of the people. And since there were Catholic churches all over the world, it opened up a world of possibilities in terms of choral composition. But in the late 1950s, that hadn't yet happened, and yet we had Catholic churches throughout the world, and one of the challenges was how do you sing a Mass in, say, the Congo that's meaningful for the people, yet you can't use their music. Drums weren't allowed in, nothing. It was just organ or a cappella. And so this priest had the idea that he wanted to do a setting of the Mass, but wanted to use the music of the indigenous people. So he got together with a couple of his adult African teachers there and said, I want to do a new Mass setting, and I want it to use your music. And so all of the men and the boys in the choir there in Kamina knew all the 5 movements to the ordinary of the Mass, the Kyrie, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus, and Agnus Dei, by memory. They knew those words because they'd done them, hundreds of times. And they also knew their folk songs. And so what they did is they took their folk songs and put on top of an existing folk song the text for the Latin Mass. So that's how all 5 movements of the Mass got produced. It is a unique piece that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world in that it is 100% African. It's not been arranged by anybody. It was a process of collective improvisation for the first 5 years. It wasn't written down until the mid-1960s, but it was starting being performed in 1958. So the boys and the men in the choir simply knew what to do. A lot of the piece is call and response, which means you'll have a soloist do one thing and the choir will respond. This is the only movement that is not call and response, the Sanctus. And the melodies that you're listening to are an agglomeration of different folk melodies from that area in the Congo, yet it has the text Sanctus on top of it. It's a very unique piece, one of a kind, and it's very near and dear to my heart. My dissertation topic was on this piece, and part of the dissertation was to retranscribe that 1958 recording made at the World's Fair in Brussels and come up with a better, more authentic performing edition. So that's what you're hearing. This is the Sanctus from Misa Lula.